woods were dark, very dark. The trees stood tall like scary monsters. Their branches were bony fingers reaching out. The wind howled. It sounded like a wolf crying. No one ever went into the woods. They called them the haunted woods of Harmony Creek. The full moon was hidden tonight. Clouds covered the sky. It felt like the woods were closing in. Something rustled in the bushes. A twig snapped. It was the kind of place that gave you goosebumps. "I dare you!" Billy's voice was a loud whisper. He looked at his sister Sarah. Her eyes were wide with fear. "What? You scared?" "No," Sarah whispered back. But she was scared, very scared. Billy had dared her to go into the woods, to touch the oldest tree, the one they called the Whispering Oak. "Okay then, go." Billy shoved Sarah playfully. She stumbled forward. Sarah took a deep breath. She was afraid, but she wouldn't let Billy see that. She was brave. She would prove it. The woods were darker than Sarah imagined. The air felt heavy, hard to breathe. Every sound made her jump. The snap of a twig, the hoot of an owl. She felt a presence behind her. Someone, or something, was watching. "Hello?" Sarah's voice shook. Only silence answered. Then she heard it, a whisper, coming from deeper in the woods. "Help me." It was faint, but definitely there. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The whisper came again, closer this time. "Help me." Sarah froze. Her heart pounded in her chest. She wanted to run, but her legs felt like lead. Then she saw it, a figure, hiding behind a tree. Lightning flashed. Sarah saw a glimpse of the figure, a man, dressed in rags. His face was pale. His eyes were wide with fear. He reached out to her. "Help me," he rasped. Then he was gone, vanished into thin air. Sarah didn't wait to see more. She turned and ran. Sarah ran through the woods. Twigs scratched at her face. She didn't care. She had to get out. She had to find Billy. But the woods seemed to go on forever. She was lost. Then she saw it. The Whispering Oak. Its branches twisted and gnarled. It looked even scarier up close. Sarah stopped. She had to get past the oak to get out of the woods. But as she took a step forward, the ground gave way. She fell, down, 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 into darkness. Sarah landed with a thud. She was in a small, dark chamber. The air was damp and musty. She could hear the man's voice again, but this time it was different. Sad. "Help me." Sarah saw him then. The man. He was huddled in a corner. He looked up at her. His eyes were filled with fear. "Don't be afraid," Sarah said. Her voice was surprisingly calm. "I'm here to help." The man shook his head. "It's too late for me," he whispered. "The woods. They trapped me here." He pointed to a pile of rocks. "There's a way out, but it's blocked." Sarah knew what she had to do. She went to the rocks and started to move them. They were heavy, but she pushed and pulled with all her might. She wasn't afraid anymore. She had to help the man. One by one, the rocks moved. The opening grew larger. Finally, it was big enough. "Come on," Sarah said to the man. "You can get out now." The man hesitated. "But what about you?" he asked. "I'll be fine," Sarah said. "Go." The man crawled through the opening. Sarah followed close behind. They were back in the woods. The moon had come out from behind the clouds. Sarah could see the path now. She knew the way out. She took the man's hand. He was cold to the touch, but he was real. She had saved him. They walked together until they reached the edge of the woods. Billy was there. His face was white with worry. "Sarah, where were you?" he cried. "I was so scared." Sarah told Billy everything. About the man, about the secret chamber, about how she had faced her fears and helped someone in need. Billy's eyes were wide with amazement. "You were really brave, Sarah," he said. Sarah smiled. She felt different, stronger. She had been afraid, but she hadn't let fear control her. She had faced her fear and done the right thing. The sun began to rise. The woods didn't seem so scary anymore. Sarah knew she would never forget this night, the night she learned that even in the darkest of places, bravery could shine through.